no one you really need to pay attention to.
Had you seen this movie before, Chris?
No, I hadn't. I said there, like, I'm quite big into Patrick Swayze. Like, Point Break, one of my proper guilty pleasures. And I just hadn't seen this. It's just one of the films that I hadn't seen. So I kind of went into it going, if this is anywhere near as good as Point Break or anything like Point Break, I'll be happy. And it's pretty much that kind of feel. Absolute garbage, but like, fucking so enjoyable.
I love it. I'm big into Patrick Swayze. That's a podcast name early on. And they're like,
I'm sure. Do we have a Patrick Swayze podcast name before? Did we keep calling Patrick Stewart Patrick Swayze?
So we did in the Green Room. Patrick Swayze, the Nazi or something like that. We called it.
Green Room. That was fucking awful.
It was good. It was good. You weird taste sometimes. Every now and then, something you just hate.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
Huh? You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Bid you farewell and good luck, morons. Bye.
Quite often I listen to you guys in the car going to work, and I remember listening in the car, the Green Room one, sitting there fucking raging, like, absolutely fucking angry. And that happens quite a lot. I quite enjoy it because there's so many different opinions. It's one of you will love it and one of you will hate it, and I get quite animated in the car.
Well, Chris, you should see us try to pick the movies to watch. Actually, we have bigger arguments picking a movie than we do actually watching it.
Oh man, that group chat's a horrible place at times, eh? Like,
I was campaigning for months and months to watch Dune, and because I just thought it'd split opinions, it'd be an interesting movie to watch, and we've still never watched it. I ended up having to watch it myself.
Aye, that'll never get watched in the podcast, Dune.
It'd be funny though. I like it, but I imagine you tearing it to shreds.
I loved it. Even though I will say,
I like the first one.
It was the second time round watch for me. The first time I watched it, I was playing FIFA and I was so distracted. I wasn't paying attention. I was like, oh, this is shit. I'm just going to turn this off. And then the second time round watching it, I really enjoyed it because I literally sat and paid attention to it. So fairly enjoyed it. But we've not even introduced the podcast. It's been that long since we've done an episode. We forgot what we're doing. So welcome into another episode of Morons Review Movies. It's actually only our second one of the year, I think. Is that right?
We'll call it the first of the year pretty much. We've just
first of the year.
Aye.
But what better way to come back to do movies than to bring a superstar guest in with us? We have got Chris. Chris has joined us previously. He actually gave us our top rated, and I believe still top rated movie that we've ever done. Chris, introduce yourself. Plug your socials. Plug your Instagram.
Aye, so I'm Chris. I do an Instagram page during lockdown. I think like everyone did during lockdown. I just made a wee film Instagram page and just talk shit about films. I depend on like family life and stuff. It can be 2 or 3 a week. I could go weeks without watching anything. It just depends. Work, family. A bit like you guys. There's loads of stuff going on. I enjoy writing. I started making me videos as well, just to try and get a bit more like stuff out there. Because you could watch I think my first one was about the Meg, and I remember watching the Meg, Jason Statham chasing a shark, and I'm like, how do you write about the fucking Meg? It's just Jason Statham chasing a big shark. So I remember making, well, at least it gets a bit more out there rather than having to write. But aye, what we're watching tonight, that's my Instagram page. I just talk shit about films.
Well, I'm going to start off with chinning you for your most recent review that you done.
Trash.
I sat and read about it because that's the last movie that we actually recorded was American Fiction that me and Daniel went to the cinema to see and thoroughly enjoyed.
Oh, I hated it. I didn't hate it. That's maybe a bit harsh. It's just it was boring. And there's probably a point to be made in it and what it's about. But I'm just sat watching this going, they're just bored. A bit too Oscar-y. It was as if I was meant to like it, and I'm like, nah, I just find this quite boring.
We were definitely not paid to say we liked it. On that note, I'm also just saying that I'm opening tonight's delicious can of beer from Beer 52 from the Northern Monk Takeover box. If you want a case for absolutely fuck all, go to beer52.com/morons. There you go. Getting better at that, Kyle.
I know, it saves me having to go and record one of them all and then edit it in, so this is absolutely perfect. And Chris has also had Beer 52, he was a winner of a competition that we did.
And they were proper tasty. Like, to be fair, I'm not into like craft beers and that, but they were fucking good.
There you go.
There you go.
Endorsement.
Endorsements. www.beer52.com/morons. That's MORONS for those morons out there that can't spell. But yeah, we've brought Chris on to talk about a movie that is going to be pretty much all over social media as of tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the launch of the new remake of the movie Roadhouse. So we jumped back in and did the original 1989 starring Patrick Swayze, which was a bouncer hired to clean up the baddest honky-tonk in Missouri town. Armed with a black belt in karate and a PhD in philosophy, Patrick Swayze sets out to tame the double deuce for its owner. I fucking love that. See, reading that, you actually know exactly what you're going to watch from reading that small bit.
I need to question, at what point was it made clear in the film that he had a PhD in philosophy? The cunt can barely string a sentence together.
He did mention to the insert hot blonde's name here that he was studying philosophy. I'm sure he does bring that up at some point.
My God.
But I was maybe distracted by the boobs that were going all over the screen at the time.
That was the one thing that Ella mentioned when she walked in the room when I was watching it. She's like, "Oh, is this why you picked this? Just fucking tits everywhere, man. Tits everywhere." So the 80s was mental, eh? Like, there's no need for any of it. Like, there was the sex scene in the wee back staff room when the guy goes, They
just he turns the light on and he's just they keep going. And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. He's like, I'm on my break. You're like, oh my God, I was howling.
I do love how it was justified, but I'm on my break, so this is fine.
Oh, it was mad. The 80s is weird. Like, I noticed in the first like 2 minutes of the film, where it shows like the original bar that he's in, and it's you see the main guy, you see Patrick Swayze, and then you see the guy that's going to hire him at the new bar come in. Who he looks like the bad guy, eh? He should be a sleazy bastard, him. But and then you see a woman's high heels, and the camera slowly goes up her legs, like up to her tiny little short skirt, and then her bum walking away. And you think, oh, what character is that? It's not a fucking character. It's just a scene for no reason, just to show this woman's arse. Like, that's the 80s for you, man. Like, it was just fucking mental.
Just everybody's just mega horny.
Horny, taking cocaine.
Yeah. But I don't know what I was more enticed by was the really pretty, good-looking naked woman or Patrick Swayze oiled up with no top on.
He's a bit skinny, isn't he? He's a wee bit skinny. Like, it wouldn't pass today, would it? Like, as a hunk. He wouldn't make it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He'd need to hit the gym a wee bit. But I suppose it's part of the story. Everyone goes, oh, I thought you'd be bigger idea. But I thought he'd be a wee bit more built up.
So I wanted to bring up that I thought you'd be bigger part, because I feel like there's some story before this that we should know about, because they make the joke really early on and then everyone seems to make the same joke. So I'm like, were we supposed to know this beforehand? They just didn't explain at all why that was a running theme that I thought you'd be bigger.
See, I've got a feeling that it was just to preempt the possible criticism it would have got. Because this was at the time where Arnie and Stallone and everyone like being all muscle bound. Maybe it was just to stop, just to say to the critics, look, we know he's not that big. Look, we mentioned it in the film. That's part of the story. Fucking get away with it. That was my thought on it.
It never bothered me at all, though. Like, see, watching it, Patrick Swayze's good quality. He's so charismatic. I never really cared the fact that he wasn't jacked like The Rock. I thought he was quality.
Oh, he's brilliant, man. Like you said, charismatic. That's the right word for him, because for much of the movie, he doesn't really say much or do much. He just stands there being Patrick Swayze, like sipping his coffee and looking at people. I would imagine, Kyle, you've seen this film about 100 times. This is like up your street.
Right up my street. See these types of movies, right? Now, going back further, like when I was younger, my dad used to make me watch action movies, Chuck Norris movies all the time. I don't know if you ever remember the old American Ninja movies.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, I loved those types of movies where it's super cheesy, really over the top. The actual fighting in martial arts is shit. Like, the quality of fighting that happens in this movie is not very good. But I just love it. I just love the whole concept. It's really easy to watch. There's a lot of, there's not even action, there's not even a big storyline. It's just really good looking guy, really good looking lassie, big fight, hero.
It's a fighting. Fucking brilliant.
I
What more
love
do you
it.
need?
Say again, Chris.
What more do you need? Like, you don't need this intricate story. That's what I love about this. Like, as I said, I hadn't seen it, and I go into it. Like, I watched it last night after my work with a beer at like midnight, and it was perfect. That's a perfect set. After I work with a beer, and it's just comfort. It's easy to watch. The story's non-existent. The characters are stupid. They make dumb decisions, but it's so enjoyable. I loved it.
See, talking about them, I just need to jump right to the end, like, 'cause I've been itching to talk about this bit, right? But you see this sort of plot every now and then where a small town has got one guy that's like the overlord of the whole town. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's fucking scared of him and all that, and it's, oh, you can't mess with him. And that you see that story quite a lot in loads of different things. But then at the end of this one, Patrick Swayze was so like hurt about the fact that he'd murdered someone before, and like that was his big emotional arc. And then he murders the next guy, and he's kind of like fucked up about it. And then he goes into that house and just murders everybody. It turns into like a horror movie in the last like 10 minutes, and then suddenly all the villagers just appear in the house with guns and fucking shoot the cunt. And my one,
That was funny.
Shotgun shots to the chest. He's still standing.
the cops turn up. What happened here? Didn't see anything. All right, okay. What the fuck?
Oh man, it's fucking shit, but it's so good.
Do you know what always makes me laugh with these movies though, right, watching them now, is they've obviously got, so the main bad guy, I can't even remember his name, Brad Wesley. He's the main bad guy. He's an older guy, small, doesn't really have much about him. That's why he's got all these henchmen in front of him. Why is it always that guy that gives the most grief to the hero?
In the fight, it bothers me so much, man. Like,
he should just go in there, crack him one dig to the face, and that fight's done.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Nothing else needs to happen, and then that guy gets arrested, and then the film ends. Don't have Brad Wesley giving fucking Dalton the biggest fight when he's just had a big fight with the guy that he's killed, and then all the people with the guns. Like, I don't know. I feel like when you fight the bad guy, that should be it. The best fighting bad guy, I suppose, is what I'm looking for.
yeah, it's quite a common thing that it happens quite often. That, like, what John Wick, he kills all these like assassins and all these fucking amazing killers and all that, and then he has the hardest fight with the old man at the end. It's the same sort of idea here. Like, that guy suddenly just fucking. Can we talk about the guy with the pool cue, by the way? Like, that's like something like a spoof film when he starts doing the fucking juggling about with the fucking pool cue and then stabbing them in the face with it and all that. It's fucking funny. Like, this whole film's stupid, eh? But the more you think about it, it's fucking stupid.
It is. Crystal.
No, it's ridiculous, but it doesn't take itself seriously at all. So it's like, you go into it with that. If the film has that attitude about itself, then it's even more enjoyable. You forgive everything because it's quite slapstick. It just doesn't care. That's what makes it enjoyable. If you don't need to take it seriously, it's just daft.
Oh, it's perfect. Did you anyone spot which former WWE Tag Team Champion was in there?
Oh, who was in it?
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk's in it.
Oh, really?
Aye, man. So he's in. See the bouncer that's there in charge when Dalton first gets there, and he chucks him out and says, "You've not got the temperament."
Right.
They go, that's a young Terry Funk looking in his heyday, man, looking fucking class.
No, I never noticed that.
Oh, Terry Funk. So it will be interesting to see what the next Roadhouse comes, because that is obviously the next movie that's coming out tomorrow on Amazon with Conor McGregor as the main bad guy.
So is he's going to be playing the equivalent of the guy with the pool cue, right? The sort of best fighter of the bad guys, I'm assuming.
So
I'm assuming.
Like, I'm struggling. I was saying this to Chris before we came on. I don't know how are they going to link being the #1 fucking bouncer in America, or however that happens. They imagine having the reputation that everyone knows this bouncer. That's Dalton. Oh, I've heard of Dalton, the bouncer. But how are they going to turn that into fucking UFC fighting? I don't know.
Well, this is it, because is this going to be one of those things where Jake Gyllenhaal's character was a UFC fighter who now is the cooler?
I think on IMDb it has a plot as former UFC fighter goes to some bar to be a bouncer.
Right.
So I'll probably flash back to him as a UFC, because I know like they've obviously done stuff for the UFC in film, like weigh-ins and
Yeah.
shit like that. So I don't know. I mean, fair play. If you do any remake, try and do something a bit different. As long as it is a bit different, as long as it has the same against slapstick feel, then you never know. It might be decent, but it's just coked up Conor McGregor.
I think he's going to be class because he's playing himself.
Well, we're assuming so.
A coked up, violent arsehole.
Just how many pensioners did you beat the shit out of?
We'll tag him in this and say, Chris says,
Oh, he's a vile cunt though, isn't he? Like,
horrible.
If he couldn't fight, he'd be absolutely nobody. Like, bothers me. But I bet he's absolutely shit in this film, and that'll be good. We can all laugh at him in the film. Because there's no way he's going to have any sort of range apart from being his same maniac self. It reminds me of, like, do you know how you get all those meme pictures that's like a guy like talking really passionately into a woman's ear and she's just got like a blank facial expression?
Yeah.
I'd imagine that's every single interaction Conor McGregor ever has with anybody. It's just him right in somebody's ear shouting fucking nonsense while he's coked up.
Yeah.
Aye, nobody cares.
Right? I seen a thing on Twitter today and I've just fact checked it there. Apparently it is. It's come from his mouth though, so we'll take it with a pinch of salt. But Conor McGregor revealed that he is the highest paid debut actor of all time.
Highest paid debut actor of all time.
In Hollywood. So he made over $4 million for this film. Apparently nobody else has made as much in their debut movie.
It's quite a niche, like, he should basically narrowed that right down to try and make it a thing. Like,
who's he taking the record from? Like, who was that before? Who knows?
Fuck knows, because obviously these people typically start somewhere in some shitty little independent movie before they make it big.
I would still imagine, like, do you think Dwayne The Rock Johnson got more than that for the Scorpion King?
Well, it says here he surpassed Dwayne The Rock Johnson to secure it.
That must have been the previous highest paid first time actor. But you've got to scale it up because, like, back in the 80s, like, I bet Hogan got paid a decent amount for being Thunder Lips and that sort of shit.
Thunder Lips.
In the Rocky movie. But like Mr. T, he'd never been in a film before until he was in Rocky 3. So I bet if you scaled it up, like, for inflation, there's been loads of folk more of them. Because you used to just pull folk for obscurity and put them in films back in the day. It was like a thing. Like, Sylvester Stallone found Mr. T at a bodybuilding contest and went, "You're fucking mental. Do you want to be in my movie?"
Oh, really?
Aye. Was never an actor before Stallone discovered him.
I didn't know that's how they cast Mr. T as in Rocky 3.
That was it, and then that launched him into fucking the A-Team and all that stuff afterwards, man.
Just going back to Roadhouse then, guys, it's funny because when I was sitting thinking about this today, about coming on, like, how am I going to theme a review around a movie that's got no plot? Just some action, some sex and some nudity, but I really enjoyed myself watching this.
No, it's fucking great. It's just carnage. It's just, objectively speaking, this is just horrible. Like, the acting's atrocious. Some of the dialogue's just like proper cringy. But again, some of the decisions the characters make are just mental. But you can't help but, like, it doesn't take itself seriously. So why should I take it seriously? And you need films like that. You can't know everything can be this in Oppenheimer 3-hour epic. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just trash, and it's it's great. It's fucking brilliant.
I'm gonna I'll be devil's advocate. And I'll say there's actually almost too much plot in this film. Like, there's too many things going on where, like you get to meet the guy Red, who's happens to be the uncle of the doctor woman who happened to stitch him up that time. Like, imagine going in, getting stitched up after a bar fight, and just saying to the doctor, "You fancy coming into mine?" And that's it. No bother. Like, it's fucking.
But we didn't look like Patrick Swayze. That's maybe normal occurrence for people that look like Patrick Swayze.
Aye, too. Or if you actually are Patrick Swayze, I think it would have to be, because he's got that. I was going to say, he's got like the Princess Diana haircut going on. Like, it's not really flattering, but
his hair's quality. It's just fucking brilliant.
As I'm sitting here with fucking covering the receding parts, and he's luscious locks at whatever age.
There's a reason I constantly wear a bonnet.
Same. I'm growing my hair for the last world tour before I have to shave it off. Like, that's my plan now. Getting too old. Shave it for charity soon or something like that.
Pretty right.
But aye, so you've got Red, that guy who's got like the repair place or whatever, gets blown up. It just escalates from nowhere. Like, The barman was skimming 150 quid a week off the top. Do you mean like $150 for his uncle? Suddenly that goes to the fucking all the local businesses getting blown up, and then the guy that sold him the car, he only goes to buy that car so you can meet that guy. So there's a guy that owns the car place, there's a guy that owns this place, there's a guy that owns that place, and it just all seems to escalate into fucking mental chaos.
Damage, monster trucks, explosions.
Oh, that was hilarious. The monster truck going through the window because the guy's not paying. Fucking hell.
And you could see that coming a mile away because the guy in the monster truck just parked up outside the bar earlier in the film. You're like, well, there's a monster truck there. That's definitely going to be used for something. Aye, 100%. I love the far-fetched stuff as well. Like, one of my favourite ones is when his Mercedes is flying towards the people and they're shooting it with a gun. They're shooting the car and shooting the car and shooting the car. And it comes flying over the thing and spins there. They shoot it, it blows up, and he'd fucking stab the accelerator down to the floor. I mean, how did he manage to point it? It came from about 500 yards away. How's he point? He's pointed it perfectly, like perfectly straight. Fucking bullshit. Mythbusters be all over that.
I'd love to see a map of how big the town is supposed to be as well, because he's went to live in that barn, and then that happens to be across the lake from the fucking crippling huge big mansion. Red's car, whatever repair shop is along the street from the bar.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is everything's just so conveniently close?
But they make a big deal about the fact that Dalton stays far away out of town in the barn. Because when he goes back to the doctor, she's like, oh, you live away out here in the middle of nowhere. Oh, but actually, he looks right onto the biggest fucking house in the town. Like, it's weird. That weird farmer as well. Like, the whole interaction at the start, it's like, nobody wants to stay in this room. Why do you want to stay in this room? Give me $100. Like, it's just so fucking awkward. Like, none of the dialogue makes any sense. But it's brilliant.
What did you think of Wade Garrett, Sam Elliott's character?
Which one's he?
Sam Elliott. He's good.
Oh, the fucking old man bouncer.
The guy that gets stabbed with the fucking hilarious wee note in his belly. Like that was great.
It was.
Was he not the creepiest guy ever?
So again, I found it a bit weird, a bit cuckoldy. Like when the two of them went out with the doctor woman, and then he's like, "Oh, can I have a dance?" And it was very, very sleazy and a bit like all over and that. It's a bit weird. He was like a creepy old bastard.
He said something along the lines of like, "I'm going to steal you from him" or something. But he like whispers it into her ear and he's staring at her, and I'm like, oh, like are they going to? Because Chris, you watched this for the first time, so would that to me for a first time viewer would be like, well, something's going to happen between the two because he's now trying to steal his bird.
Aye, it did seem a bit like pointless. And there's so much of this. It just again watching it in 2024 for the first time, like it comes across as creepy as fuck. At the beginning, you go in and there's sexual assault everywhere, just touched up absolutely everywhere. And back in the 80s, no doubt, like that was just fling that into films and people will laugh at it. But it's just you watch it and it's just like you imagine getting into a pub just now and you can all be to rowdy pubs, but there's just sexual assault everywhere. But that's just another fucking level, and it's
wild, eh?
That's wild, but I get Patrick Swayze and he'll sort it.
the scene where the guys go the guy who's obviously got money, a big fat guy, and he's got his beautiful woman across from him, and he's like the guy's like, oh, you can like feel her boobs for $20.
No, I said you can kiss them. You can kiss them for $20.
That's it.
And he spends ages feeling it up, and then he's like, "Are you gonna do it or not?" He's like, "No, I've not got $20." Fucking love that joke. Like that was class.
It's good.
But
it's a funny concept as well, though, that like this is a big thing. Like he's a cooler. He's in charge of the bouncers. He's going to transform a pub. He's going to kick loads of people out, and then all of a sudden, loads of people are going to come.
Aye, and suddenly, like, it's brighter and nicer within a few days, and there's a big queue outside because he goes into these folk. And the first few
over in like a week.
It's mental, eh? And then they had the band had to play behind a cage. And then the next week,
that was the chicken wire, as if they're looking through that.
Oh man, the blind guitar guy was cool. Like I don't know if he was actually blind in real life, or if that was very well playing a blind guy. Can you research that, Kyle? Is that actor actually blind?
He's a Canadian blues and rock singer. He lost his sight as a child through eye cancer.
Wow, fair play.
Yeah, so he's not an actor.
So Do you know how when you're watching on Amazon Prime, when you get like the wee bits of trivia or somebody's pop up if you pause it? So I had to pause it quite early on, and the bit of trivia that came up was, see the band in the first bar. So no the second bar, but the first one he's in. The singer for that is the same guy that's the singer for the band in the bar in From Dusk Till Dawn. So it's the same band in those two films, which I thought was pretty mental. Like, and then because they turn into vampires and all that shit in Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, it's a great film.
I'm having a nosy at some of the trivia just in the background here as well. And the trivia goes exactly how you think it's going to go. Patrick Swayze's fame was causing problems during the filming because middle-aged blonde women kept attempting to come into his trailer. Rafts of Swayze fans would be sailed by whilst filming the big fight scenes on the rivers.
I mean, I'm not surprised. He's a very handsome man, isn't he? This would have been... So when was Dirty Dancing? 88? 87, 88?
This is after Dirty Dancing, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. So he would be massive because Dirty Dancing came out a couple of years before this.
87, yeah.
Aye. So
Point Break was early 90s as well. That was after this, wasn't it?
That was after as well, because I think he was only in Point Break because they agreed to let him skydive multiple times because Patrick Swayze loves skydiving. I'm sure we spoke about that.
Of course he does.
Yeah, man. Can I be in the film only if we're going to do multiple skydiving scenes that are going to take half an hour of the film? Right, okay.
Well, it says in the filming of this movie, hurt his knee, which took him out of playing Cash in Tango and Cash and being in Predator 2, so he done Ghost instead.
Worked out well.
It did, didn't it? Predator 2 was shit, and Ghost isn't great either, but I mean it's iconic for him, innit? It was a proper famous film.
Oh, it's super iconic. Like, absolutely. This is weird, but as a wee guy, maybe like 5 or 6 years old, I loved Ghost. I don't know why. It was such a weird thing to like as a wee guy, but I absolutely loved that movie. Like that and Quantum Leap, I loved at the same time. Anything about like? Did any of you ever watch Quantum Leap?
I think so.
No.
Have you heard of Quantum Leap?
I was going to say, is that not a fucking James Bond movie? But that's not.
Oh, fucking hell. You need to look up Quantum Leap, right? So this was a show in the 80s, early 90s. I've gone well off track here, but I'm really excited about this. And it was about a guy who he was played by Sam Beckett, and he would go through time. He was displaced in time, and he would wake up, and he was a different person every time he woke up. So he would look at himself, but he looked in the mirror, he would be like a giant black woman, or he'd be like a little skinny guy, or he'd be just a different guy. And he had to solve some sort of issue in their lives, and when they solved the issue, he would leap again and he would be in somebody else's body next week for next week's episode. It's fucking awesome. It was brilliant. Like Quantum Leap, get it watched.
It's been remade and came out in 2022, 30 years after Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into Quantum Leap.
No, they've no. Just leave things fucking alone.
Such an awesome man, isn't he?
Because it had the most heartbreaking ending, because the whole point was that he was leaping every time to try and get back to his own life. He wanted to get back to his real life. So you think that by the time we got to the last episode, that would be him going home. But you learn at the last episode that he's never going home. He's going to live in this limbo forever.
That's me. I watched it.
Fucking scrap that off my list of things I was about to watch.
Thankfully, the end's got fuck all to do with it. It's just weekly episodic shite. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, there's another 31 episodes that have been made, Daniel, since 2022. So go fill your boots on NBC's Quantum Leap.
Nah, I'm not interested in a remake of that.
And it's still going, so there'll be seasons and seasons of that one for you.
And the last thing I want to mention on it, so he had a guy that was like his guide that nobody could see. He was like an invisible guy that would guide him through each Quantum Leap. And he had a wee computer thing called Ziggy. He'd go beep, 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 beep. And it would tell him like things about the people and all that. It was fucking wild, stupid shit.
What noise did it make?
Beep, 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 beep.
There you go, that's Chris's TikTok sorted. Oh, well, I don't know what else we can actually talk about this film. Because
this film's got like loads of daft scenes in it, but there was one last night. So see when he's banging the bird, and she wakes up and he's lying outside on the week in a barn pit.
Yes.
And they start talking and they start riding again, and the camera just cuts to the fucking bad guy just sitting smoking a cigar watching them.
Like surely they know that it could be seen there. Like it's fucking...
he's like fucking. There's like there's no way they're riding and they can't see this guy watching them.
Oh,
I thought even a step further back that I thought was weird was when she woke up and Swayze was just sitting outside in the scud. Didn't even have like a blanket under him or nothing, just sitting there bollocks out on the fucking roof of his barn.
Just shows you how horny like the director was, because the way like she walks towards him, we have kind of bed sheet round her, and it just shows her arse the entire way.
Aye, she was zapping the bed sheet around her, but not actually covering anything.
Aye, doesn't cover anything.
Aye, it was definitely very horny directors back in the 80s. Because we mentioned the tit scenes, but like none of them were necessary.
None of it.
Like it wasn't any that added to the film or anything like that. And then one arc I didn't quite get was there was the blonde lassie that loved Patrick Swayze that was like eyeing him up for the start, and like he rejected her a couple of times. Then she got beat up, and it turned out she was the main bad guy's
Mrs.
Right. But he just liked to parade her about, and then she did the whole striptease thing. It was it was cringy. Like she was doing the stupid striptease dance for about a minute and a half of screen time. It was fucking awkward after a while.
Why did Patrick Swayze's character let that go on for that long, to the point where she was pretty much in the buff before he decided, do you know what, she's now nearly naked, I'm now going to put my hands on her.
Aye, it was. Well, he did contradict himself quite a lot, because he was always like, stay calm, no fighting in the bar. You've got to be the nice guy. If you can't escort them out, get a second guy. He was always quite clear about his rules. And then that night, when the guys were there, he just gave them the nod and was like, "On you go, just go and fucking fight them." Like it just seemed to go against everything that he said.
It's when the boy that pulled the knife out, he just grabs him and puts his head right through the table. And it's like, well, that's a good use of the money. So that's a new table that needs to be brought in. You've smashed a couple of drinks there, and you've had to fling somebody out. You must have cost the guy that runs that pub an absolute fortune.
Well, he was on a $5,000 signing on fee and $500 a night. How much money is this bar making?
Plus medical fees, which is fucking the guy. He gets stabbed, he gets done in, he gets bottled. I mean, what's the cost?
And he's on $100 $100 a month or $100 a week for his barn.
Aye, $100 a month for the barn. He's paying fuck all. Do you mean living the life?
No wonder he can afford to buy cars to fire into fucking middle of nowhere.
So I'm assuming what I was expecting as well, because I was sure when I was younger, I was sure the Mercedes was quite a big part of it. Like, and it's obviously like his favourite car, and he puts it away and he goes and buys another car when he goes to a local town because he knows his car's gonna get smashed up or whatever, right? But he didn't ever like explain where he got the special Mercedes for, and then by the end he was happy just to have it blown up. It just seemed like a weird arc that didn't go anywhere. He had the special car that seemed to be emotional to him, but didn't care about it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like there needs to be something before this. Like, he's too small. His car. Like, why do we care about this? What is his fighting background? Who's Garrett? Why is he better? Like,
a Dalton origin story. Maybe this is what the remake's going to do. Maybe
it will go back, because it sounds like it's calling him a former UFC fighter. Yeah. So it does sound like the new one will give you a bit more of the background. It's something we discuss on this quite often, actually, because like Burnsy, for example, when he's on, he really needs to know the full background and like every stage of the story to get it. Whereas I don't mind just jumping in. You know that this guy's got a bit of a past. He fucks shit up. Aye. Doesn't bother me.
It depends entirely on the tone of the film you're watching. If you're watching something that's quite serious, a drama, then characters need a bit of background to properly connect to them. A film like this, I couldn't really care what the background is. I mean, if the remake gives it, then fair enough. But I've been watching that last night. I didn't really give a shit about any of it. It is just comfort, and to me, I don't need it. If it's there, fair enough. But I didn't miss it. Put it that way.
Aye, I was the same. Like, I just quite liked he had a bit of mystery. He'd murdered someone in Memphis. I thought you were going to find out a wee bit more about that at some point, but it just got left that he killed somebody in Memphis, and he seemed to be really emotionally conflicted by that until he just started murdering everybody else. So it was fine at that point. I know we mentioned it, but the fact that it turns into like a slapstick horror by the end is fucking hilarious. And then see the opening bar fight, and then there's a guy sitting at the bar just laughing all the time, like being really annoying and laughing at everything. And then the lassie just smashes him in the face with a bottle. I feel like, see, if you played a laughter track over that and like Benny Hill music, it would have just made the whole thing feel totally different. Like, it was just slapstick shit going on everywhere.
Oh, I'm just having another gander through the trivia there. So, according to Kelly Lynch, who plays his hot blonde lover, whenever Bill Murray sees the film and the sex scene with her and Patrick Swayze, Bill Murray calls her husband to tease him about it.
I mean, that's fucking hilarious. Who's her husband? Is he famous?
Mitch Glazer.
He sounds like a banker or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
He is an American writer, producer, and actor. Not in anything that I've seen, but yeah. But so he's good friends with Bill Murray and Mickey Rourke. But imagine every couple of years just getting that phone call to say, "Oh, Patrick Swayze was pumping your wife."
Fair enough. But that's probably how he met her, how he saw her in the first place. I mean, like, you've got to allow people to have their pasts, especially if it involves Patrick Swayze. What more trivia you got? I'm enjoying this. What else you got for us?
So basically, Dalton's injury sustained, so the medical bills that needed to get covered would have been 2 gunshot wounds, 4 stainless steel screws, 9 knife wounds, and 31 broken bones.
And his whole career?
It just says that it was these injuries.
Couldn't it have been just in this film, surely?
Injuries sustained to Dalton is what it says for that one. Maybe it's ones that he's talked about as well.
Maybe.
Does get done in quite a lot for being this fucking badass bouncer. He does get like, a right doing quite a lot.
It sort of doesn't quite go with the mystique and the aura. You'd expect him never to get touched. He would just batter everybody, but everyone seems to have a wee chance with him, and they're just normal drunk folk at a bar. He's not that much of a badass.
There is a Roadhouse 2 called Roadhouse 2 The Last Call.
And Swayze's in it, I'm sure.
Is he?
It's got here...
I'm sure.
No, he's not in this one.
Okay.
Shane Tanner. Whilst he's deep undercover in New York, DEA agent Shane Tanner, the son of legendary killer named Dalton, learned that his uncle Nate got beat up by a group of men because he didn't know what to sell them the Black Pelican bar.
That sounds garbage. Absolute garbage.
It's got a 4.3 rating out of the 2,000 people that rated it on IMDb.
What's IMDb's rating for like Roadhouse?
6.7, I think it was.
That kind of makes sense.
Aye, like I think if you're really into films, which we are not, hence the name of the we are, but we're not. Do you know what I mean? If you're kind of snobby about films, this is not a good film at all. Like you mentioned, Chris, it's poorly acted, it's poorly written, but somehow.
Objectively speaking, it's fucking terrible. But again, like I've said this for years, like you need films like this. I know everything needs to be fucking big epics and dramas. Like you need just trash.
Aye, like
just watch.
You get sick of the same stuff all the time, and if everything's at the same level of quality, it stops becoming quality. That becomes the average, and then it just becomes shite. So like, I just think the 80s is due a bit of a revival, which seems to have been happening over the last 2 or 3 years. But it's mostly been that sort of quirky 80s style, like Stranger Things, where it's like, oh, let's look at the arcades and all this sort of stuff. What we need is like a flashback to these over-the-top 80s fucking cocaine-driven films like this. Because what a time it was to be alive, man.
Remakes made.
Yeah, get Van Damme type stuff out and go, like, just fucking, like, wild shit. Bloodsport, that would be a good remake.
Oh, Bloodsport was class. Although, I've done a lot of research on the actual, it's based on a true story, but there's no evidence whatsoever to this story. And there was something about Michael Bisping was trying to fight that Frank Dukes or whatever his name was at some point as well.
So in the originals, the real story, is it not like a tournament in the middle of the forest or something? Like he went to a secret forest location, and like only he ever knew about it, and they never met anyone else that ever went to this fucking made up bullshit.
Made up bullshit should be the name of it.
Still a quality film. Well, that's again like the maybe knows like. Roadhouse has maybe got a bit more structure to it, which probably tells you a lot about Bloodsport because it's just mental. But again, it's just hilarious. That's a perfect film to put on at midnight on a Monday, Tuesday night, just flying on with a beer.
I talk about movies like this a lot because I like to have background noise and I struggle with silence. So I'll put a lot of shit movies on, and I'll put on movies that I've seen a lot, like Moneyball, for instance. I've probably watched it 30 odd times. And Sorry?
That's again, objectively speaking, Moneyball's fucking brilliant. That's not even like, I mean, that's quite intricate, and I mean, I quite like American sports, and I love Moneyball.
So we like Moneyball as well. The reason we slag Kyle for it is that it's not the type of film you would watch 25
Aye.
times.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen that a few times, but I wouldn't have it as background noise.
No, man. But anyway, carry on.
Love it. But these types of movies and going back and watching older movies like this are a lot more enjoyable. So I mentioned these earlier when I was staying up in Aberdeen. I was able to cast my Netflix to the TV in the room, and the first movie that popped up to recommend I put on was Skyscraper, which had it's got The Rock in it.
Oh God.
And it was shit. Like, even as background noise, it was awful. I'd much rather put on a Roadhouse or a Bloodsport or any of these types of older, Universal Soldier or something like that. Put one of these old classic.
Oh, Universal Soldier!
Classic.
What a fucking classic that was! Like, I fucking
Do you know
love
what
that.
movie I want to watch? And this is relevant because I just downloaded the game. Have any heard of the game Helldivers, which is doing the rounds at the moment?
No.
Nah.
Helldivers is basically an online multiplayer shooting game, which is basically Starship Troopers.
Right. So you're shooting daft aliens that blow up, essentially.
You get recruited. It's like the job to go and become a Helldiver, to be in the Starship Troopers. It's got the same type of like very American recruitment policy as they recruit you and train you, and you go just shooting monsters and you like save the planets and you fly to different planets. So I want to watch Starship Troopers because I played the game the other night and it was really good.
A good film as well. I've not seen that in years.
It's one of those that, like, again, because it wasn't too serious, it became really enjoyable. My high school, like, we're about the same age. Like, that was a huge film for folk my age, as like coming out of high school. Like, everyone loved it.
Maybe this is where we need to go with the movies for next couple. Just get some 80s movies. Have a revamp of all the old classics that aren't too hard to watch. You've probably seen them before. I'm buzzing, Chris. You've got the pleasure of watching Roadhouse for the first time, but it might not have hit.
When you text me that, I'm like, all right, okay. Again, it's something that it's just been on like many lists on Netflix and Prime and stuff. I'll get like that's the kind of film I'll watch eventually, and it gave me an excuse to watch it, and it was I fucking loved it. These 80s films, 90s films, they don't take themselves seriously, and a lot of the kind of modern ones like that, like especially ones with The Rock, like they take themselves too seriously, and that's when I kind of just zone out and go, nah, this is just garbage. Like films like Roadhouse, we know they're garbage, but they know it as well. So
Aye.
It's just fucking, it's brilliant. It's great to watch. It's just fun.
I can't think the last Dwayne Johnson movie I watched. Like, nothing that he's in ever really appeals to me. Like the Fast and the Furious movies or whatever random action film he's done, like a film called fucking Skyscraper. Like, and then Black Adam. Like, I'm a big comic book geek, and I had no interest in seeing a film about Black Adam. Like, he's a bad guy character in a whole bigger thing. It's just because Dwayne Johnson wanted to make it a big fucking deal. So I mean, like, and now he's back in the WWE, fucking being the ultimate heel, which I absolutely love. To be fair, Team Cody, fucking WrestleMania coming up, just for get that.
Have you seen? Speaking of superhero movies, has anyone seen that Flash movie?
No, I've no desire to watch it, man. No desire.
It's 2.5 hours long, and I got about an hour and 20, hour and 30 in it, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. Watching Michael Keaton's Batman flying about and jumping about and stuff and that.
I'm done with. I've said quite a few times, like on my Instagram page, I'm done with superhero films. There's a few that I'll get excited for, like the last Spider-Man, Batman, and potentially X-Men, because I used to love the cartoons when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They're the kind of three, but like see that there's too many, and Disney's making you watch so many fucking TV shows. I'm just the superhero fatigue it's proper genuine, and I'm for years. Like I watched the last Guardians of the Galaxy last year, and it was all right, but I'm like, it's just shite. Like, why do I care? It's just the same stuff.
The Ant-Man movie was awful.
So it's weird because without going on too off track, but me being a bit of a geek, I know where it's all going. Because it's all going up to Secret Wars, right? See where the actual Secret Wars happens, like 3 years, everyone will fucking love it, and you'll forget how shit the last 5 years have been. And all the top actors will get killed off, and they'll get replaced with new actors. That's what they'll do. They'll start with young folk again.
I don't mind that. If they make me watch like 10 films, then I'm happy to watch the 10 films and build up to a kind of big, like what they did with Avengers.
Yeah.
I'm happy to watch all the films. It's the fact that they make me watch individual TV shows.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll start to learn now. See, with kids, like I'm very selective about what TV shows I watch because that's 10 hours. Like you could
You've
watch
got time.
films like 10 hours for something that's average is just it's a hard sell. So the fact that they're making us watch multiple seasons of different TV shows and they all interlink, like no for me.
They all came out really quickly because I like a process. So like I watched, I made my missus watch the Marvel shows from timeline order from the start all the way through until we made to Endgame, and she loved it. But see, once Endgame finishes and it's in, right, cool, now you've got Loki, which is a series, and then you've got WandaVision, and then you had Hawkeye, and then by the time like I was keeping up with it quite well, and then when you start missing a couple of episodes, then it was like, shit, I'm actually 4 different shows behind now. I'll just no bother.
Like they've done too much. Like who's
That's
watching?
fucked up.
Aye, like who's watching Echo? Is anyone watching Echo? Nah, nobody. But I bet it's got a really pivotal point in a film that's coming up. Do you know what I mean that you'll need to know? You mentioned X-Men the cartoon, which I also absolutely loved. Did you know that? I think it's actually out this week. They have done a new season of the 90s X-Men, X-Men 97.
97. I mean, don't get me wrong, I probably will watch that.
I will.
I loved the cartoon when I was a kid. But again, that's just nostalgia. If that's just like a kind of one-off, I'm happy to do that. But
I'll be all over that. Like
bang average TV seasons to kind of keeping track with films is just piss. But Star Wars is the same. They've started doing that with Star Wars as well. And I love the films, Star Wars. I get to fuck, like, not doing it. I gave up with The Mandalorian as soon as I started season 3, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to watch Boba Fett. No, jog on.
Aye.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
It does become a slog. Like it becomes hard when you're not enjoying it as well. Like if it's not that great, you know, you've got around 8 episodes to watch to get the story to where you're going. It shouldn't be like that.
No, you should be able to just dip in and out really to the ones that you like. If you just watch the Spider-Man films, you should know everything that's going on with Spider-Man. Like just for that main character, do you know what I mean? But it doesn't work like that, which is where they've kind of fucked it. Whereas they should have had a simple plot like Roadhouse, revolving around a village kingpin and the local honky tonk. Do you know what I mean? That's what you fucking want.
Just bust. I'm like, what a description. The local honky tonk. That just sets the scene. You just know this is going to be trash. But
I love that phrase, the honky tonk.
What a bag of fun.
Oh man, the honky tonk man. That's Patrick Swayze, man. Some of the martial arts though, I just want to cut before we get to the end because I can feel you're naturally wanting to get to the end here, Kyle. But the actual martial arts, when he was doing it on the beach and that, what was that like Tai Chi or something? He was doing the slow sort of yoga pish where he was like, and then when he was about to kill the old man, then he had the wee sort of change of heart for some reason. And he had like the claw. I thought he was like about to pull his fucking heart out or like rip his throat out or something. And last thing I mentioned about the thing in the house, and just because I took a note of it, if a polar bear is falling on you, you've got multiple options. One of them is not stand still and shoot at it while it lands on you. Like slowly, he's like, fuck, bang, 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 and then the fucking polar bear falls on him. That really fucking bothered me. Like.
Do you ever remember the computer game for the Mega Drive, Streets of Rage?
Yes.
No.
No. Oh, Chris, you've missed out if you don't know Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage had characters that were really overweight characters that wore white tops with red.
Yeah. Braces.
I'm going to say suspenders. Red braces on, and this guy just looked exactly like him. And I was like, he's so out of place on everybody that's there. And it was just a weird character. I wanted to bring up the martial arts things because being a bit of a martial arts geek, I love it, but it really fucks me off that the signature move that they used in the 80s was the reverse turning kick, so the reverse roundhouse kick. But when they do it, their foot comes round and it's up, their toes are pointing to the ceiling, they kind of hit you with the side of their foot. But the actual move, you're supposed to hit them with the heel, and it's so much more effective. But these are guys obviously haven't been trained how to do it properly. So when they're doing their spinning kick and they just flop their foot against them, it really fucks me off.
Wow. The 6 people that were still listed, I was just turned off. Kyle. Fucking hell, man.
Listen, I'll put some videos on social media how to do it properly.
Go on, you please send a video into the group chat of you doing it properly so we can put that online, please.
Do you know what I've got? See, I've got a video of it must have been lockdown. when it was like videos all the time. I've got a video of me doing the move to knock a bottle lid off of a drink.
Oh, you were one of those wankers.
Yeah. And then I've also got a video where I had to, it was I threw a toilet roll up in the air to do it, but the video is very well edited because in the real version of the video, I fall right in my arse right after I hit it.
Doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
No. And then, and now I can't get my leg that high because I'm fat and lazy, so there's absolutely no chance.
This is why I want the demonstration video, because it will not be what you think it is in your head. It'll be like hip height going super.
Hip height if you're lucky. I used to be able to swing these around head high, no problem. Fucking, yeah. I'm an old man now. I'm nearly 40. I say nearly 40, I'm 36. I just wanted to bring up one movie quickly before we end on. We were invited, you may have seen on social media recently of a few of the other Instagram accounts and podcasts that are out there. We're invited to review a movie called Brightwood.
Oh yeah, tell us what it was like.
So Brightwood, I watched this last night. So Brightwood is a movie starring Max, I'm sorry if you're listening, I'm going to really struggle to pronounce your name here, but it's Warrington Dyke, who is in Succession, and directed by a lady called Dane Eclar, who is in Orange is the New Black. The concept of this movie had me very, very much intrigued. So you are a couple of men that have got partners and kids and stuff, and I think you would agree with me, I'm in the same scenario as one of the biggest and scariest thoughts you could have is getting stuck in an infinite loop with them, doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Lived that for fucking nearly a year in lockdown. I ain't going back to that.
Well, there we go. So this story is that this couple go out to have a run after they've clearly had a big fight in their house. So they're a married couple that's on the rocks, and they go out for a run to this lake. As they're running round the lake, they realise over and over that they keep coming to the same spot that they've been stopped at arguing at. So they're in this infinite time loop where however fast they run, wherever they run, they always end up back to the same spot, whilst arguing like fuck the whole time. The movie is technically a horror film because there is a lot of creepiness to the movie. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of violence in it. But it's hard to describe because it's very sci-fi as well. So when they're running, they start to see other people there. So these other people start popping up, and then what you find out is that other people are a variant of them in a different timeline, but all worked in together. So they're trying to connect and talk to these other people, then realizing that these other people are also running away from them. And it's really hard to describe actually, but it's what's good about it is it builds up a lot of suspense. So when I was watching it last night, I did the whole lights off, dark environment, turned the volume right up because I thought it was going to be quite jump scary, which it's not. So from a horror point of view, it's not got many jump scares in it. It's just got quite a bit of violence, which puts it in there. It's probably more of like a psychological thriller of how would you feel in this scenario? Like, I know that I would struggle having the same conversations, going round in the circle and not knowing when we're ever going to get out. So you get to see the panic from them.
Can I assume then that the big twist at the end is that they're in limbo or something like that, and they're like perpetually reliving the moment because they're in limbo?
Yeah, so this is where it started to confuse and lose me a little bit because I'm not a big horror type person. They started fighting with themselves.
Like alternate versions of themselves?
Yeah, so it's like versions of them, but you would see, like, for instance, Dan, who Max plays in the movie, is wearing a blue hoodie, but then he gets knocked over at one point because somebody runs past him, and it's someone who's got a dirtier blue hoodie. But that's a version of him that must be weeks, maybe years in the future.
I'll be sorry, Max, but this sounds absolutely shite, and I'm assuming it's just because Kyle's not very good at describing it. What did you say his name was? Max Warrington Dyke?
Yeah.
That sounds like the ultimate lesbian for the northwest of England, eh? Like the Max Warrington Dyke. That's like the final boss in the fucking lesbian computer game. Sorry.
No, listen. I like the idea of it, and what I've seen after reading about it a little bit is it was a short story written by the same person that directed it, which I think this is more akin to being a short movie. This in a 10-15 minute film would be perfect. Build that little bit of suspense. It's never ending. They never get out of it, and it leaves you thinking about it. I got lost on this because I didn't believe the story of them as a couple that were falling out. A married couple, and he had been accused of being seedy to her workmates. She's then saying that she doesn't like him, doesn't want to be with him, but there was no real, I don't know, they either both had just accepted that they were separating, but they were stuck in this loop, or I couldn't believe that they were a couple, if that makes sense.
Aye, well, you've had your review, Max, as much as that's what you're getting, but your film sounds shite.
There you go, Max.
Is that something that's going to come out like cinema, or is it straight to streaming? Or
so it's UK released tomorrow on digital platforms, so Amazon, Apple, Google, etc. So it is available as of tomorrow, the 21st of March. If you do want to watch it,
it's picked a weird date to bring it out. That's the same day as fucking Roadhouse. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch that this weekend.
Nah, I think there's only one choice and one choice only, and that's watching the original Roadhouse again.
Yeah, watch the original one. Do we want to score it, guys? I'm intrigued to see what you would give Roadhouse. For those that don't remember, it's been a while. We score our movies out of 5. We go in increments of 0.25. Chris works on a 10. Don't you get up to 10 with your scoring?
I started doing that for like new releases on my page. I've said before, I find it quite difficult to score films. I don't really enjoy it. New ones, like new releases, a wee bit easier, but I tend to struggle. It's just like comparing films that just shouldn't be compared, and I can't help but compare films if I score them all.
Yeah.
So asking me to score a film like Roadhouse, again, how do you score it? Do you score it objectively, in which case it's a fucking 0.5, or do you score it like how I enjoyed it, in which case it's closer to a 5? Let's face it, it was great. But then I
think I fall into the camp of mixing the two things you've said there. Like, I can't give this a 5 because that's exclusive for the big movies that I've watched, but this is going to be scoring a lot higher than what would be critically acclaimed movies that are sort of really low down our list. Think about your enjoyment of watching this. Would you go back and rewatch it? So to give you an example, if I look at our list and I'm just going to pluck halfway, I say halfway down. Take, for instance, the movie Con Air. Con Air's people's favourite films. That's a 3.1.
It's good as well, isn't it?
It's good and shite. It's exactly like this film. It's really good and really shite, which is in my wheelhouse. There's occasionally one of these films, it will bother me too much, and I just can't quite get the enjoyment. Yeah. It doesn't strike the balance, but I feel like this strikes the perfect balance, and there's enough daft wee side characters and enough different wee things going on. I think it's good. Give me your score, Kyle, first.
Oh, I love it. I would watch this again today, quite happily. I'll give this a 4 out of 5.
Nice. What about you, Chris?
See, I kind of agree. Again, first time watch for me, and there's no doubt I'll go back to this, similar to like Point Break. And I kind of try and do a bit of both. Like, I'm not going to score it a 5, but I love this. So I'm giving it a 3.75.
I am matching you with a 3.75. I just don't think it's quite good enough to be a 4, but very enjoyable, good laugh.
Well, there we go. That brings it into a 3.83 since we're scoring it across the 3 of us. So I'm going to give you some movies that this now goes above on the Morons leaderboard.
Chris, wait, there's a proper banger that I love in here.
Right, I'm going to start at movies that start at 3.7, where we've got The Departed.
This is higher than The Departed.
Good.
This is higher than The Departed. This is higher than Moneyball.
Good.
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, it's better than that.
It's better than that.
Leon the Professional.
Definitely. I think that Leon would have been higher. It was me that scored that quite low, I think. I'm not a big fan of that film.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's a class. So this is where I have to always explain to people who just look at the scores that because of the mixture of those ones, this one's kind of unique that we've all kind of scored at a similar score. Yeah. That doesn't happen often. So a lot of those ones we maybe would have had 3 or 4 high scores, and then someone's like, "No, that's a 0 because they fucking hate it," or somebody gives it a 5. But I think those types should be quite high. I think it's good for what it is. Do you know the way I like to think about it is how good is it for the type of film it is?
Yeah.
So do you mean like if it's a slapstick comedy, is it the best slapstick comedy? And then I'll give it a 5. Like we did Airplane. Did I give Airplane a 5? I might have. Fucking like absolutely perfect for what it is. But aye, that's the way I try and look at it.
And the movie we've got 45th on our leaderboard, which is going to be slightly below Roadhouse when we update this, is Inglourious Bastards.
That was your fault, Kyle. You hated that.
It was shite.
Aye.
Oh, it was pish.
See, don't get me wrong. In terms of Tarantino, he can be a bit hit or miss with some people. I love him, but he can be a bit hit or miss. The one that gets me is The Departed. That's one of my. It's like my fucking top 10 films ever. I love it. Oh,
I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit for that one because I used to love it, and I think by the time we reviewed it for this, I'd kind of sickened myself with it, and
watch it a lot.
I'd watched it a few times, and then it was just like twist, 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 music, twist, 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 which I loved the first time I watched it, but then see when you know all the twists, it's a bit like tiring, eh? But I stand by it. The party's pish.
And then just to finish off with the leaderboard here, there's 3 movies that are on a 3.85, so just slightly above Roadhouse, which is Kill Bill Volume 1, Pulp Fiction, and Warrior.
This is better than Warrior. That's because you gave Warrior a 5.
Warrior's incredible.
Warrior is a good film. I've not seen that in a while, mind you, but it's a good film. But I know I enjoyed this. I enjoyed Roadhouse a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
but if we go for top 5 in the leaderboard, we've still got Chrissy's pick of All That Time Ago of Goodfellas still sitting strong at number 1. 12 Angry Men and The Shining joint in 2nd and 3rd there. True Romance in at 4th. And the movie that should be number 1 on our list, number 5, Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's the one we fucked up the most. Like, we absolutely fucked up. So we went to see it at the cinema and we were all fucking giddy about how amazing it was and that.
Do you ever notice that happens? That tends to be why I'm doing it now, but it tended to be why I never scored a lot. At the time, you can come out of a film and go, oh my god, that was fucking unbelievable. And see 6 months later, you could have totally different opinions on it. And that can work both ways as well. You can maybe see a film that you didn't like, and then 6 months later, you maybe watch it again for a second time, and your opinion completely changes.
Yeah,
wild.
Totally. Like we were discussing this, where a good example of that was Joker. Everyone went to the cinema and loved Joker, and then about a year later, we watched it again, and I was like, it's bang average. I think we gave it a. It's a taxi.
We also had that. We also said American Fiction, though. We went to see that at the cinema.
Yes.
But when your cinema tickets were paid as well, it was always going to be a bit better.
So, I mean, when it's complimentary, you've got to be complimentary, haven't you?
I just watched it in the house on the telly, and I'm like, nah, just quite slow and dull.
We named that episode "A Room Full of White People" because you had a room full of white people nervously wondering if they were allowed to laugh at some of the jokes that were done in it.
That did help my enjoyment of the film, like, because there was like a few times where people laughed and sort of stopped themselves, like looking about and like, oh shit, should I be laughing at that? It's funny.
Anyway, we chuckled away for it, but I've just actually scanned the time, guys. We've been talking for over an hour, so I think this is a really good time for us to finish up. Chris, we thank you very much for coming on. We are going to be rolling out and doing the next Roadhouse movie, so you're more than welcome to come join us if you want to review Roadhouse with Conor McGregor and compare it to this one.
I'm watching that this weekend, definitely.
I'll be watching this weekend as well. I think a few of the other lads are going to join us in watching this one as well, so it'll be good to have more people on to discuss it. But thanks for those that are still with us after an hour of listening. Please jump on and give Chris a follow on his Instagram, like I said earlier on. What we're watching tonight. Have a look at his reviews. Slander him for his American Fiction review, please.
Bring it on.
Should be much better than what it is. But no, thanks very much for coming on, mate. I'm glad you got to see a movie that's an absolute classic that you've enjoyed as well. I always take a bit of pride when people enjoy the movies that we ask them to watch.
Doesn't happen often.
No,
especially when it gets a good review as well. If it's a good score, there's nothing worse than when you suggest a film to someone and they fucking slaughter it.
Well, our whole group chat is getting slagged off for picking shite films now, so everyone's too scared to pick a fucking film, eh? But it's been an absolute pleasure tonight after being off for a wee while. I forget how we finished this. Do you want to say goodbye, Kyle, or something like that?
No, I have my overly cheesy line that I've been saying ever since we ever started doing these.
Well, you used to do it and then you stopped. You got a bit sloppy, didn't you?
I know. Do you know what? I get so distracted as well because I've sat here for an hour and not done more than one thing, and so I'm getting itchy. But It does bring us to the end, and as morons do, bid you farewell.
Fuck off.
And then this wee awkward silence bit where we're like, what do we do? What do we say? How do we stop it?
And then you just stop it.
And then you just stop it.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun, you fucking moron.
Dressed up like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron. Hey, moron.